Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On The Go Post Show on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Danielle Wiggins, joined with Hollie and Jason. So we are ready to help you get through the storm that moved through. If you have any questions for our wonderful meteorologist, just let us know. Put it in the comment section. We have tag team weather from Hollie and Jason. Hollie, we'll start with you with what we're expecting today.
Yeah, and thank you all for tuning in, and feel free to ask away with whatever questions you have. One item of really good news, if you are just tuning into this live and we're not able to watch our show, is that all warnings have expired for the vast majority of Northeast Ohio, and this is way ahead of schedule. They were supposed to go until 1 o'clock today, so that in itself I think is a little breath of fresh air. We are still dealing with warnings for Sandusky and back towards Toledo. That all being said, the snow is out of here as we take a look at radar, and depending on what time you're watching this, there may be a few flurries or scattered snow showers later in the day, and I'll get to sort of a future cast coming up here in just a moment. But our system snow has pulled out, and honestly, that happened overnight while you were asleep. And in fact, when our show started at 4:30 today, we didn't have any snow coming down at that point. Our drives in were a different story, but you know, things have been improving ever since. And do let us know what conditions are like, speaking of that, in your neighborhood. I know Jason's been getting a lot of pictures from all of you, and we so appreciate that. It's the neighborhood roads, you know, those will be tricky probably through today, just because crews are working so hard to get all those main roads and things just manageable, we'll say that. So teens and 20s, this is as of right now, but you know what? We're really not going to move much today as far as temperatures. So even if you're watching this at 2 in the afternoon, it's probably pretty similar. Winds will be blustery, and right now this morning, not quite as blustery as they will be. We're anywhere from 5 to 15 miles an hour sustained right now, but they'll be increasing about 15 to 25. And with that being said, we're going to have these wind chills to deal with, feel like temperatures throughout the day too. This morning, lots of single digits, and even into the afternoon, that will be a potential. So with all the snow days, and those eye alerts are right here, you know, you can see all those. And here's the deal: make sure the kids are bundled up, because there's nothing wrong with getting out and playing in this. I know us big kids want to do that too. You just have to make sure you're layered up and ears are covered and all that. And of course, you know, be careful of your pets today too, because it's really cold for them. Timeline shows off those highs kind of right around 20, but notice how into the day we also pick up that chance of a snow shower again, a few flurries perhaps. So as we go hour by hour, we see those chances more so closer to the lakeshore. Just don't want you to be caught off guard if you have a random flurry. A little further inland later today. And then overnight, my goodness, it is really going to be frigid. This is tomorrow at 5 a.m. It is 0 in Worcester at that point, 4 in Elyria, 2 in Mansfield. These are not wind chills. And some of you will dip to even just below 0 before back into the 20s for tomorrow. So it's just going to be a chilly day, a very frigid day, and a quiet day otherwise. Then we start to talk Thursday, and we see an increase in cloud cover ahead of this next potential storm system that could impact us. So snow pushing in by Thursday afternoon. Could we see a bit of a mix? Jason's going to be talking more about this in just a moment. And then how about additional accumulations? Questions, questions, questions. And here's how this is all evolving as we get a look at the big picture. So here we are today with that chance of snow showers later on. And then getting into tomorrow, it's quiet, but by later Thursday, we see that snow tracking up. But it's this area of pink, the icy weather, that is a question mark at this point. You know, our numbers are going to be a little warmer, and we're going to have different layers to deal with, and there's still a question mark of will we see some ice mix in. Jason knows as well as I do, that's, you know, one of the most treacherous things to deal with, because it's so hard to see, and obviously for commuting purposes. Snow we can see. and ice is just a whole different story. As we look ahead to additional accumulation, projections still quite early, but at this point, what I'm going to do is toss it over to you, Jason, and then when we come back, we can take a look at, in fact, you know what I'll do? I'm going to put the 7-day forecast up in our transition so you can take a look at this on Facebook Live. But Jason, you can talk more about Thursday, and then I'll pop back in with you all in just a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get started with a little bit more about what you can expect today. So I know when a number of you walk outside, you're going to see basically pictures that look just like this. So this is our colleague Lisa over in Chesterland. She sent us this photo this morning of what it looked like in front of her yard. Thank you so much to Sally over in Stowe, who sent us this picture before all of the snow had moved through of her backyard. And also want to thank Nancy over in Shelby. I don't think she's going to be doing anything in her backyard anytime soon. You can see that they got a lot of snow. Basically with the system, it looks as though if you were from I-71 and west, you got a lot more snow than those of you on the eastern edge. And what we dealt with this system was a little bit more mixing than we anticipated. So that's why those of you in Canton and south of there, you guys got a lot more sleet and a lot less snow. But those of you west of there ended up getting a lot more snow. We see over in Ravenna, Lori's dog, she ain't feeling the snow, friends. And you know what? This is my kindred spirit. This is my spirit animal. I completely understand that. As always, if you have a weather photo, you can upload it to the WKYC app using the second option there, or you can feel free to tag me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Jason Frazer TV. You can also tag Hollie as well. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening right now. Winter storm warnings are still in effect for just some of our outlying western counties, including Huron as well as Erie County. This is going to continue until 1 o'clock. I would not be surprised to actually see this expire sooner than that. And that's all because we're not really seeing a lot of that snow that we had really anticipated for a good chunk of the overnight hours. Everybody else is in the clear for now, but that does not mean that we could not see some additional snow showers. And I want to compare basically what is going on around the rest of the country. I mean, look at this. We still have in the midsection of the country a number of watches and warnings, especially for Texas. And the reason why I'm going to put an eye over Texas is because that is where our next weather maker is going to be transitioning over to. Basically, what's been happening is we actually have a dip in the jet stream, and that is part of the reason why we've been seeing a lot of very cold air. I mean, when I say cold, I'm talking about single digits, and a lot of these systems have been basically riding the outline of that. So that is going to continue to happen here over the next 48 hours. So this is the system that Hollie was talking about. She had alluded to. So there you see it right there in eastern Texas. We do have not only some snow, but some sleet as well as some rain. What's going to happen here over the next 48 hours is we're going to see that system organize itself, and then it's basically going to end up clipping our area likely Thursday into Friday. Now, the models keep going back and forth as far as the final track. If this shifts just a little bit farther west, we could be talking about some rain, or I should say some sleet, as well as some snow. But if it continues on its current track, we are anticipating that this may end up being more of a snow event than we saw in the overnight hours. Bottom line, I think it's too early to be talking about snowfall totals. Either way, with this system on Thursday into Friday, we are going to end up getting some snow. I do think that by Friday afternoon, we're going to start to see the system clear out of here, but it's kind of that third punch that we have been really alluding to over the last couple of days. We knew that we were going to get a system in here in the early morning hours of yesterday. Then we knew we were going to get that second round later on yesterday and in the overnight hours of today. Then eventually we're going to get a break at some point, either later on tonight into tomorrow. I do think tomorrow we do have a slight chance for seeing some sunshine, so that's at least the silver lining here. But then this weather maker is going to end up clipping us. I do think in parts of the Northeast, they are definitely going to see some rain as well as some sleet, possibly some ice as well as some snow. So at least with us, I do think we'll just see a greater chance of just seeing either some snow or some ice. So here's a timeline for what I'm pretty much calling round 3 of the snow here, friends. I mean, it's basically going to be increasing clouds for Thursday. Then we're talking about more snow on Friday. And then we could even see a little bit of some snow as well as some ice. So bottom line, we're not out of the woods yet. If you're like me, you're counting down to spring. We got about another 32 days or so left until we officially flip the switch on to spring. But you know, in Northeast Ohio, we could still be getting snow all the way up until May. So I don't think that's going to happen. Hey, listen, I remain optimistic, but you know what? You never really know about Mother Nature. So, Danielle, I want to know, are there any questions from our audience members?
Well, yeah, I mean, right now, Jason, what we do, we have a few questions about not seeing the snow totals that we thought, and you explained that to me after the show. Can you explain a little bit about why we didn't see the snow totals in some places?
Sure. So what happens in the upper atmosphere is sometimes we have this thing called an inversion, right? An inversion is basically where you have warmer air that's above colder air. Generally speaking, at the ground level, you have warm air, and then as you go farther up in the upper atmosphere, you get cold air. What happened with yesterday's storm that we saw is we saw a lot more sleet develop. The reason why was because we had some warmer air. Sometimes you'll hear meteorologists call it warmer air aloft. Basically, that means it was just higher up in the sky. We have precipitation. When it falls, generally speaking, in the North America, it falls as snow, and then it encounters some warmer air, and it tends to transition over into some rain. What happened yesterday was we saw some much warmer air that was moving across parts of Canton and south of there, like in Dover and in New Philadelphia. So what happened was that snowflake, it fell, it transitioned over into rain, and then before it hit the ground, because it was very cold at the ground yesterday, remember we were talking about 20s at the surface, it transitioned back over into sleet. So if you account for the sleet that actually did occur at the surface in places like Dover, New Philadelphia, as well as Canton, those snow totals that we initially had rolled out were pretty accurate, but it's just because we saw a lot more warming in way up high in the sky. It transitioned, and that threw off some of those snow totals. But hey, we definitely got some significant snow on the west side. I mean, in places like the Sandusky area, as well as even in parts of Lorraine, even in the Mansfield area. So they're going to be dealing with some snow for at least the next couple of days.
Yeah, so what you're saying is basically, if that sleet were snow, those snow totals would have been correct.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we'll continue to take your questions, and I know a number of you are saying, hey, it's Northeast Ohio, let's plan for the worst and be happy when it's better than what we planned for. Now, some of you also had questions about traffic. Now, Kelly, she asked for what are road conditions like in Elyria. So here's I-90 at the Turnpike in Elyria. You can see here, now I have my cell phone here because I'm monitoring your comments, but you can see here they were able to clear the roadways. Now, although the roads are clear of the snow here, be prepared for slick driving conditions. Now again, here's the Elyria area. You see some slow traffic 90 eastbound as well as US 20 east near the Turnpike. We also have multiple crashes reported. At last check, when I looked at it, there was 12 reported crashes throughout Northeast Ohio and people taking it slower. So slower speeds. On I-90, that speed has been reduced between 44 and 528 in Madison. So you can see all of the crashes that we see reported here. Now, we had multiple crashes as well on 480 east and westbound at Transportation Boulevard in the Valley View area. Here's that live camera. So you can see, again, roadways look clear but don't forget that there's still ice, so you do need to slow down out there. Your drive times on 480 between State Road and Northfield Road, 11 minutes heading east, 11 minutes heading west. So fairly normal. Those are typically 9 minutes. So as you can look at the average speed, 49 miles per hour, your average speed headed east, 51 headed west. So again, people are taking it a little slower. Now, someone also commented that there's stop and go traffic on 77 North in the Akron area near Arlington Road. Unfortunately, that camera is frozen over. So this may be what your windshield looks like if you have ice or you park outside. So you do want to give yourself extra time this morning to warm up your vehicle if you do have to go somewhere. But yes, that person who commented in the comment section about 77 northbound, you are seeing slow traffic as you're moving past Arlington Road. So let's take a look at that drive time. 77 between US 30 and 277. So that's between Canton and Akron, right there near the Central Interchange. So it's 27 minutes, 42 miles per hour, your average speed. Now that is typically about an 18-minute ride. So you are seeing slowdowns because of that stop and go traffic on 77 North near Arlington. That's someone in the comment section. I believe that's Terry Watson said an accident 77 at Arlington Road. Traffic is at a standstill. So she is correct there. So we definitely appreciate all of you. And as we come back, I believe Hollie is back and Jason. So let me talk to the control room. Can we get that 3 box up? Okay, good. So what are your takeaways, Hollie and Jason, for how we want to make it through today, or what our viewers need to know? Your 3 takeaways.
Okay. Well, I would just say, you know, it kind of goes without saying common sense, and it might sound really simplistic, but I feel like as much as we're all from here, have done this a million times, we tend to just forget. And so side roads are going to stay slick through the day. If you have the luxury of truly just, and I don't know what you all talked about for the past couple minutes because I was doing a radio update, but if you have the luxury of staying home, if your kids are home today and you can work from home, go for it. Have fun, get out, play in the snow, dress warmly. And if you're gonna get out, allow extra time, because even though roads are being cleared, those side streets and things like that are gonna be slick throughout the day. It's gonna take time.
Mm-hmm. I think the big concern I'm going to have, you know, moving forward, isn't necessarily the snow. You know, we're gonna see the snow taper off. If you are going to see some flurries at some point today across your neighborhoods, it's not going to be anything heavy like we saw in the overnight hours. But you know, Hollie, it's really going to be these single-digit temperatures.
Holy cow!
Especially in the overnight hours. I mean, and that's not even factoring the wind chill.
No.
I mean, we're talking about below 0. So I know a number of you, are going to be worried about your pipes. I would not be surprised to see some frozen pipes.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to also see, some spots where we do get that ice on some of the highways, and whatnot. So as Hollie mentioned, definitely be careful as you're going out and about today.
Well, and the other thing for early tomorrow, considering it'll be another day where we maybe not closings, but we could have, our decent amount of 2-hour delays tomorrow just because those waits at the bus stop. I mean, it is really, really going to be frigid as we start.
Yeah, I mean, the silver lining, though, is tomorrow we'll at least see some sunshine, right? I mean, that's at least.
And you're making a snow angel at some point today. So.
And he wants to be invited to a snowball fight.
Oh, and that.
Yes.
See, that's what I missed when I was doing my radio update. I was on with Mark Nolan. I missed.
No one apparently called me from Kent State. By the way, if you're just tuning in, Kent State had a massive snowball fight last night with over 300 students. And apparently, I guess I'm just not cool enough.
That video is something else.
It is.
Today. Yeah. Danielle, were there any other questions that you received?
The questions that are coming in right now that I'm able to see are about traffic.
Yeah.
So if we, Jason will be back in the next hour or so with the 3 News Now update and really giving you a detailed look and looking ahead for the forecast. So Jason, look for that on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask the control room, can we go back to the traffic map so I can answer these questions? There we go. So thank you, Hollie. Thank you, Jason. So the question that we've been getting, let me actually move out of the way. So you guys are seeing a behind the scenes look here. So I have to actually go through and show you. One of the questions that we received was, what does the drive look like from Akron to the Cleveland Hopkins Airport. So if we pull out to see here, so you can see what the roadways look like. I'm not sure if you're taking 77, State Route 8, but as you can see, you have that stop and go traffic on 77 northbound. So let's say if you take 77 all the way up or wherever, the turnpike, there is the airport. So it looks like you have slow traffic for 80 as you're in Cuyahoga County, as well as 77 northbound in near Arlington Road in Akron. And then you have some slow traffic right here near the Central Interchange, 76 westbound. Also State Route 8 southbound, you have slow traffic making it to the Central Interchange. If you're new here in Northeast Ohio and you're like, what in the world is the Central Interchange? Well, it's this spot right here. I'll put a little dot on it for you. It's where 76 State Route 8 and 77 meet. Now, someone else asked about the turnpike. So as you can see here, looks like in Northeast Ohio, the turnpike is all green, so normal drive times. But again, take it slow out there this morning, and we are here. Stay with WKYC.com as well as our Facebook page because we are tracking everything. We have a live blog for you on WKYC.com, team coverage. We are helping you through this. So thank you so much for joining this On The Go Post Show. And of course, our team will continue to update you throughout the day. Have a great Tuesday. Be safe and stay warm.